Hi, everybody, and welcome to Gen Friends. I'm your host, Sherry Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and we are going to have a fun time tonight covering relative race, season 14, day 3. We've got Jenny Hawran. Hello, Jenny.
Hi there. Hi, everyone.
It's so good to have you here because, you and I were talking as it was, as we live tweet. So that's really fun.
Yeah,
So I encourage everybody that will live X, whatever it
I'll
is,
still call it
to
sweet.
come
Yeah.
join us. Yeah, come join us. It's a lot of fun. And we've got Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hello, Melissa.
Hello, I can't live tweet because I don't watch it till the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
I
And I have
live
to
tweet.
avoid all social media
I
because
know. Yeah, exactly. And so, but
because
I
all
always
you are
have
on
to
my
go back.
friends, and so then I see stuff and I can't see
I
it.
know, right? And then I have to go back and watch it again because when you're tweeting, sometimes you miss different things. And so then I go
I
back and
watch
watch it
it
again
twice.
and then take my notes and then I
Me
still
too.
forget things. We've got Shelley Murphy. Hello, our
Hi,
family
everybody. Glad to
girl.
be here.
Glad you're here with us tonight. And last but not least, we've got Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy and the Applied Genealogical Institute. Did I say that right? Genealogy. Is it genealogy or genealogical?
Genealogy.
That's why I always mess up because I want to say genealogical and it's genealogy. But anyway, you're here and we're so glad. We're
Thank
so
you.
glad.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to be here too. Yeah, it's good to have all you guys together. And oh my gosh, what a day 3 was. I want to start out though, because apparently last week when we were talking about day 2, I haven't gone back to watch it, so I don't know. It was probably me because I make mistakes all the time. But somebody said, and I mean it happens, that it was Precious that met her brother, but it was Camille that met
Yeah.
her brother. And so I just want to make sure we get that straight. Um, you know what? We get so
Yeah, it
excited.
was Precious's brother on the father's side.
No, it was Camille's brother.
Meals.
It was Camille's brother. She throws her notes. Yeah.
In my notes.
Yeah, it was
It was
Camille.
I'll watch it again, but I
Yeah.
believe you.
It was Camille. Yes. And last night, as they start, because they always show us, when they're starting, oh my gosh, the gift that he gave her was just amazing. So he's in the Navy, I think it
Maybe
is.
I
Yeah.
think yeah.
And so he took one of his Navy shirts. It was one of his camouflage. I'm assuming it was his. It could have been somebody else on the line.
No, it was,
I
I
don't
think
know
it
what
It
the
was
was
Navy,
his.
his.
I don't know what the Navy uniforms. I know what their dress uniforms look like, but I don't know what their other
It
uniforms
was
look like.
Navy.
But he framed his uniform with their last name and it was beautiful. And what's so funny is she puts it in the car and as they're driving, you can see it,
You can see
back there
it.
in the car. It's big. It's big on
Yeah.
the in the car. But what a wonderful gift that was. What a wonderful
Yeah.
gift that
Wonderful.
was. So I'm
Yeah.
so happy for her that she was able to meet her brother. What a sweet, sweet reunion. And like we've talked about so many times, they're always saying, I don't want to leave. And that's what Team Black was saying as she was leaving
Yeah.
her dad. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. But, they had to. So, and they were looking at maps. He was helping them try to figure out how to get out of the area where they were so they could get out of there.
I
But
noticed that a couple of
right.
them were looking at maps and stuff that
Mhm.
morning, which is good. That's a good
Good. I think
sign,
Team Blue
you
was
know.
Yeah.
too, I believe. Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, you're right. It's a very good thing. Yes, Mary.
You said Team Black was leaving her father. She was leaving her
Oh,
brother.
sorry, it was
Her
her brother.
brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, thank you, thank you. I mean, I saw his face and I knew in my head, but I said the
Yeah.
wrong.
Team Green was leaving Daddy.
No, well,
No,
no,
No.
no,
no.
no. Team Green was leaving her cousins, and they were
Yes.
out taking the
Wait a
picture
minute. What
with the
episode did you guys watch?
three.
I
Who-
watched Laura meet
We're
her
talking about we're talking
dad
about we're
last
talking
Yeah,
about
night.
day
yeah, but we're
two,
talking about
not the
yeah,
one we just watched.
Okay.
we're talking about when they're
Well,
leaving. When they're
we're talking about the
leaving.
beginning of
Yeah.
episode 3.
Yeah.
I got it.
When people are
I
It's all
got
leaving.
it.
good. It's all
You
good.
know,
Bringing
It's all
me in.
good.
you know, I did
It's
make
really
a
good.
I did make an interesting observation though.
Okay.
All of the teams this year are in states that are east of the Mississippi.
Oh.
That is East true. of the
Oh.
Mississippi.
My husband
Michigan.
complained about that.
Michigan.
Complained about that.
Florida.
It
Oh,
dawned on
wow.
me. I
Yeah.
thought, wait a minute, all of these teams are east of the
Louisiana.
Mississippi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all, yeah.
Tennessee,
Tennessee
Louisiana.
and Knoxville.
They
Yes.
were
Yeah.
in Pensacola. They were
Now
traveling to
Michigan, I mean
Pensacola.
Michigan's
Yeah.
east of the Mississippi, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
But it's considered
I'm thinking of
Midwest.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it is, yeah, it's east.
That's too funny. That's a great observation. That's fabulous. Yeah. And I noticed that Laura Jean was using the camera that she was given so that she could, I think she was taking some on her cell phone and then she was taking ones with the camera so that she
I think
could.
it's just wild that the Polaroid has come back.
I think that's wild too. And what the
You know,
kids are
but what
doing, what
gets
everybody's
me,
doing is, yeah, go ahead.
I was like, what gets me is that in the archives world, we loathe Polaroid
Oh,
photographs
yes, because they don't stay.
because they
Pictures don't
they
stay.
deteriorate very, very
They fade.
fast.
Exactly.
And you cannot,
Exactly.
yeah. And so, and I don't know, I've not used a more modern Polaroid, so I don't know what the pictures are like. But
Yeah.
the old Polaroids from the
They look
70s
just
and
as
eight,
bad.
oh,
They look just as bad. I've got some granddaughters that have them, and what they use them
mm,
for is they take the pictures and then they hang them up in their room. And
yeah.
Yeah.
so, and
Right.
so that's what they use them for. But anyway, yeah, so that was cute watching her take those photos. So we've got Team Red that won day 2. So they know they don't know what it is, but they know that when they get to the challenge that they've got a benefit. Um, so as they're off and running, we've got the same issue. People don't know. People don't know where anything is. I love Precious. She runs and he goes, "Hello, you beautiful people." I mean, she just, she gets
I'm like,
everybody's attention.
nobody's like, who is this crazy woman?
I know. And nobody knew. Nobody knew
Nope.
how to tell them to get, to the right road. So that's just so funny. But then somebody else told them, well, you go to this street and turn. And then they realize, well, that doesn't help us because we don't know where this street is either. I thought that was funny.
I think one of them found a mail carrier. Those are the ones you need to
Yes.
find, are the mail
Yes.
Oh,
carriers.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe
Because they
if
know
I'm not
where
wrong,
everything is,
yeah,
especially in their neighborhoods.
exactly. I think that might have been Team Red. Don't quote me on that. I think
don't
it may have been
remember.
Team Red, but yeah, I think it may have been.
Yeah,
They
maybe.
had the mail person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they all finally got there. Nobody had a horrible, horrible time, I don't think. There was no drawbridges.
No, there was just weather. Like Team Green had
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Rain,
weather.
the
weather.
storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is not good because I know.
Yeah, and if you drive on Tennessee roads with rain, good thing it was daylight, because if it had been dark, you couldn't see a
Oh,
thing, because our roads are
no.
black at night. And when you have
Yeah.
rain, you can't see anything in the state of Tennessee
Yes.
when it's raining
Yeah.
and it's dark.
Can't see anything. Yeah, exactly. So I was worried about them. And they were saying, well, we can't speed. I mean, they're not allowed to speed anyway, because then they get that little voice, you're going over the speed limit, and they have to slow down. We've learned that from other seasons, and they
Yeah.
cannot speed, they get in trouble. But you can't
And the
go.
crews behind them,
Yes.
the
Yeah, they're
crews are all
tracking that
there.
car. Yeah, they're tracking that car to see their speed. They're obeying. They got to
They're
make sure
right
they're
behind
obeying
them. Yeah.
all the laws, all the roads.
And what was it? Was it Team Red, where they had the conversation about who was going to drive?
Yes,
The
Yes.
two, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And Precious ended up
Because it was
driving
local for her, Baton
Right.
Rouge.
Baton
Yeah.
Rouge.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, she might as well drive. Absolutely, it made more sense. And
Yeah.
I love her singing. Do you love her singing? Her little
Yeah.
songs that she makes up, about what they're doing. It's so cute. I love that so much. So guys, what did you think? Well, first of all, when they get to the challenge, they describe the challenge. The challenge.
I
Okay,
was sick.
Raise your hand if you like pickles. I love pickles.
I love pickles.
I don't.
I could
hate
not do that.
pickles.
But I
That was
don't
the
know.
most disgusting
Right, look at
thing
look at that.
they
Look at
have done.
my hand raised because it's doing that automatic thing. So
Oh,
ignore,
yeah.
ignore my hand. Anyway, hopefully it'll go down in a minute. If not, I'll try to get it down. Anyway, so I might have to. I can't believe it did that. Anyway, so the flavors of the pickles though were absolutely insane.
Taste. Come on.
Food
Right.
flavored pickles are awful. So
So
I
just
love
the regular.
pickles.
So their benefit, what they had to do was they had to hit the pickleball into
Yeah.
they were on the
The
tennis court.
jar.
And I was worried about Team Green because their tennis court it was a tennis court was wet.
Wet.
Right.
Yeah.
It was wet. So I was really worried about them. Okay, I've got to lower my hand. So who wants to tell the rules? Well, I'm trying to figure out how to lower my hand. Somebody describe what the challenge, there it is. What the challenge was about. What did
they
have
had
to
to hit the thing, hit one. They had all these jars of different flavored pickles. And so they had to hit the pickleball and hit a jar. And then they had to eat one of those pickles.
And they had to eat
Entire
up,
one,
they
the
had to
entire
Yeah, the
pickle.
entire,
Or-
and
Mhm.
they were like 6-inch long pickles.
Yeah, and they
Really
were
big.
stuffed with the most disgusting things, some of
Like
them. Oh,
toothpaste and fruit punch.
Banana.
Yeah,
Banana.
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 Whose brilliant idea was that? And then they figured out quickly, though, that the good pickles were all the way in the back.
In the back, and the
And the
bad
disgusting ones
are up
were
front.
all in the front. They had ham and cheese.
Yeah, ham and cheese was another one.
The hot taquito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
taquito chip.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I mean, who sat around and came up with these flavors? I would like to know who is the brilliant one that came up with these flavors. And we heard Laura say, I can't eat pickles. I just hate pickles. Jonathan said he didn't like pickles. I thought Vic was going to lose it when he was eating a couple of pickles. And even Dan came on, during the.
But he hated pickles.
He hated pickles, and he was so
we
glad.
would have timed out on that challenge.
That would have been worth it.
I
Yeah.
like pickles, but I just don't know those flavors.
Not
how I
with
would-
toothpaste.
No, not with
A
that.
banana.
Yeah, I
can't-
know.
I
But see,
vote
the-
that this one does not go in our book.
No,
Well, the kids.
my
would
my
probably
stomach
love
hurt just
it.
watching it. I just
Yeah,
couldn't
It
even.
was gross.
I
was
guarantee
gross.
you, though, if you have kids, they would think that was really funny. They would love
Oh
that.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
But
yeah.
you know what? They said that Team Red, that their benefit was
Yeah.
because they won, that they could swap out a pickle for a
Yeah.
smaller size one. I don't know. I must have missed that. Did they do
And
that? They must
They
have
never,
done it.
they never,
I don't think they
ever
did
see
it.
that. I don't think they ever did it.
Okay.
And
Mm.
it was only Precious that ended up eating the pickles. They had to hit 3 balls
Mm.
apiece.
I know.
And she
I
ended
feel
up
sorry
eating,
for
they
there's
had
a
to eat-
couple of teams, only one of them
yeah,
kept
they ate
hitting them, and
pickles.
they were the ones who kept
Yes.
having to eat the pickles.
And
Well,
don't you know
and-
what Joby kept going, chew, 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 chew. And she goes, Mama loves you. And he goes,
Yeah.
you better.
Team Green barfed. I mean, she
Yes.
barfed up the pickle
I
after
know,
she ate it.
did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
that was
Bad.
Yeah.
it was
Not a
just
fan
a
of that one.
bad. I mean, really evil. challenge.
Unless you could, hit those back pickles and get something that tasted decent.
There's so many
But-
different people that
Mhm.
have either food allergies or problems
yeah.
with food.
They
I'm
probably-
surprised they do any kind of food challenges because
They probably
It's
know
just-
ahead of time,
maybe, but
and then maybe that person has to sit out or something because you don't want, because they come up with it. And we've learned before the season even starts, they know what challenges they're going to do, even before the teams are chosen. And that's why people have
Yeah.
gotten so upset sometimes when some of the teams are physically handicapped. And, and so it could be that if somebody was allergic, they're not going to make somebody who's allergic to something eat a pickle because, boy, that'd be a lawsuit.
I think
So,
they probably checked that prior to.
Yeah, they probably let them know this is.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, do you have any food allergies? And then they check what they're doing because they had the peanut butter pickle, and there's so many people that are allergic to nuts, and so they had to check that before they ended up having to run an EpiPen in there and get somebody to the hospital. So
The $300 EpiPen.
exactly. But I think they had a good time. I think some of them. I think though that Vic, and I might be wrong, but he still looked a little in the car.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I might just have read that wrong, but to me, he looked a little, because I think he ate all the pickles for their team.
He did.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did.
He
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor guy. I felt so bad for
It
them.
was
The
just
ones
bad.
that really hate pickles. Go
Let's
ahead.
talk about pickleball. I mean, this is I don't know if any of y'all play, but I don't play, and I think this is relatively
The
new.
paddle.
Yeah,
And I mean, I know in our area, pickleball courts are going up everywhere.
everywhere.
They're
It's
tearing
huge.
down the tennis courts and they're putting
Yeah, they're
pickleball
putting
courts.
Mhm.
pickleball courts in. Yeah. Did
It's
you?
better for the elderly and for those that can't play tennis, that it's better for
Right.
them.
Yeah, exactly. But we talked about it being wet. Did you guys notice how Laura, when she ran back, she slid into Pam, and if she hadn't caught,
Yes.
she would have
Yeah.
gone right
Oh, I didn't
down.
see that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she ran and just slid, and Pam caught her. So, yeah, that could have been really, really bad for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and caught her. So anyway, I think some of them had fun. I think Team Red looked like they were having a good time with it. I don't
think they
think
all
their
are.
Precious
Yes.
cared about what pickle she was eating. She seemed to be fine with it. So, and she
Mhm.
was slurping. Some of them she would say, "Oh, it's coming right out." She would slurp like the toothpaste out, so she wasn't eating it together, so she could
Yeah.
slurp it out and then eat the pickle. And I was like,
Okay, let's move on.
let's move on, because everybody's starting to go, oh.
Ugh.
Well, and I thought, I mean, maybe I was just so totally grossed out, but I think they spent more time on that challenge than they normally do. If you looked at
Yeah.
the amount of minutes on it,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
might be right. You
it,
might absolutely be right. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
a good observation, and I think you're right. It did
Yeah.
seem like it was a little longer.
And it
Yeah.
could be too, just because as well that it was so entertaining.
It was not entertaining.
Entertaining for some people, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, what's kind of that was a very interesting challenge. So let's move on. Let's move on. They get the addresses to their relatives. And again, I don't think anybody had a horrible time. Some of them were, well, Team Blue, which way do I've got the street, but I don't know if I should go
Yeah.
left or right. I mean, that's tough when you come up on the street like that. And Jonathan said turn left, and Daniel was driving. He goes, I'll turn right. And I'm like, oh, because you just don't know, until you start looking at the house numbers, if they're going up or down and that. And so Team Black was hoping that they were on the right street, and it ended up they were on the right street. So I think for the most part, nobody had one of those moments where we felt like, oh, that's going to do them in tonight, unless it's just the way they edited it and we didn't see that.
Unless
Oh,
we didn't see it. Yeah.
yeah, that's going to do them in. All right. Who would like to? I'm trying to decide who wants to tell about who a team met. Anyone? Just choose the team.
I'll do Team Blue.
Okay, go ahead.
So they went to Pensacola, Florida. And Daniel met his sister Dina.
Yeah.
And that was just a very sweet, he's just such a sweet guy,
And he recognized her from the picture from last week.
He did.
Yeah.
And but when she hugged him, she said, "It's so good to have a part of mom." And that meant a lot to him, you could tell.
Yes.
And she's an artist, and she was telling him more, it's the stories that you want to know about your family that you don't know.
Right.
And they were talking about, she was telling him about their mother and how she did up the holidays, and they would watch Rudolph and Frosty, and I was like, oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, the hokey old ones, right?
And but she was upfront, and she said, our mom struggled a lot, and she just, she had her demons, and it's very sad. They all the siblings all ended up in foster care.
And that was interesting when she was telling that, because I don't think she knew that.
Yeah, so that was really sad. And but she knew or they knew about him, because they remembered when the mom was pregnant. Yeah. But and he got to see some photos of his mom when she was older, and it just again, it gave him more to fill her in as a person. So I thought it was a very sweet.
She mentioned the fact that they went and her and her siblings, or her went to visit her, and I thought, okay, well, they're in foster care, so they're going, and then that's when they found out she was pregnant with Daniel, because and so
kids do get to go. Yeah, they do get to go visit, and I don't know if he meant at her home. It was probably a supervised visit. Or it could be a supervised visit at the home.
I don't know.
They do that. They do it both, or at an office. And so, but what I loved too was she had said that they had all kind of lost touch with each other. The one sister, they hadn't seen each other for like 20 years.
20 years.
And this is what's so beautiful about Relative Race, because every season you see other families connecting. And so he said, this is bringing us full circle, and we're all going to get to connect.
Reconnecting.
So just reconnect back together. I'm sure he'll get to meet them.
It was because of the show.
Yeah, it's because of the show.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And whether we see all of them, on camera, those other siblings, those sisters are going to make sure he meets his other siblings. You know that they will. So, yeah, I thought that was really beautiful. And I love that she asked him, they always talk about how did you grow up? And he was saying, we did the same thing. We had all the, it was a good household. We were loved and we had all the holidays and all that. So, and they talked about now making new memories.
Yeah. Do you notice how he's the big brother for Johnny, right? He
yeah.
is
Johnny,
still taking care of Johnny.
I think it's the other way around. I think Daniel's older and then Johnny's
older.
What you mean? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, the younger brother that came 10 years after.
Yes, that's Jonathan.
And if you watch the movement, he's always checking to bring him, even though he's right there. But that big brother role was you can just see it, right? And there he is there as the little brother.
Right. He's there supporting, but I'm certainly hoping that they will find
because he was adopted too.
Yes.
He said at the end that they're my siblings too.
That's right. That was exactly that he feels like they pulled him into the family as well.
Yeah. And the sister said that, yes, I've got another brother or something.
Yeah, it's beautiful too that they're acknowledging and they understand that they have the bond, they're brothers, they grew up together. And so I think that's wonderful. And so he's close.
Yeah,
close
my brother is your brother.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So that was beautiful. All right, who wants to take another team?
I can just
go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's four Team Black. This would be great.
Team Black was already in Michigan, but they had to go to Mears, Michigan. And she met her niece Paige on her dad's side, who is Jeremy's brother, who we saw the day before, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jeremy is
Jeremy's daughter.
So this is Jeremy's daughter.
Yes. Daughter.
Yes. Yeah. That was great. And they just couldn't help but keep staring.
I know. Well, she said that you were looked at Vic and said, "You're my dad," when he was young.
Like my dad.
Yes. Yeah. And Vic said, "I always thought I looked like my father, but now I know." And he looked at his mom. I look like your father.
Yeah. That was really
cool.
Funny.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But they went and rode on the dunes, ATVs.
Yes. How fun.
And I think that they got to really know each other. And so I think her name. What's her name? Vic's mom.
Jody.
Joby.
Yes.
Yes. I think, I don't care what family member she's going to meet. I think she's just going to just accept him and love him and be glad and happy because,
absolutely. Yes. Oh, yes. She's just full of joy. And that laugh. Yeah. It's just, she's just full of joy.
Isn't she the one that said, I've never had a brother or never had the, growing up. And
exactly.
so, you feel now, that,
Right. And now she does. So I'm just trying to look at my notes really quick and see if there was anything else about their meeting together. So I tried to write down quotes and things like that they say. So what she said was that they taking them on the dune buggies made her feel like she belonged to the family because that was something that they would do together. And so that helped her just feel that connection and feel like she belonged. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody want to take the next one?
I'll take green.
Okay.
And all I want to say is she met her daddy.
Yay!
That was it. So that was her ultimate goal.
Yes.
And from the interviews in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. And do you remember the cousins? The cousins kept telling her how much she looked like her daddy. Holy cow. Holy cow.
Did. Yeah. So that was, I didn't think they were going to let each other go. And I also got the impression, and even in their talk, he did not know.
Oh, no, he absolutely
didn't know.
No idea.
He didn't know. Yeah. And so that helps her, get
he even got
that goals.
He even got choked up saying that if he had known, that he would not have abandoned her.
He would not have left her. Yeah, basically, if he knew. But it was just, as soon as he come out the door, I turned to my mom and I said, "That's Daddy. That's Daddy."
Yeah. And just the tears as she's sobbing and he's crying. And she goes, I guess we ought to get inside, instead of holding you up right here at the door, we need to get inside. But, when she was listening to him explain, that he didn't know and those kind of things, she said, I'm not going to hold anything against somebody that made a decision when they were young. And I thought, what a beautiful way to look at it instead of being angry,
Yeah.
That sometimes
he really didn't have a decision to make. He didn't know.
No, he didn't. Yeah. And so I'm sure she probably was speaking more of her biological mom at that point, but it's a very mature way to look at it because when we're young, we look back and we think, oh, so maybe choices we made when we were young, a little bit more immature, we wouldn't have made when we were older, but you got to do what's right for you at that time. And so I thought that was a very,
regardless of how old you are, you think it's the right thing.
Exactly. That's very true, Shelley. It's
and listening to him talking about there was a military base there. I think he was in the military. He didn't really come out and say it.
It looked to me like it was Air Force.
Fort Walton.
That's an Air Force base. Air Force base. And I saw that.
Then all the talk about his will. We already knew that he was. We already knew that he was ill. I think.
Yes.
And he said he was sick.
Yeah, he said I could go at any time. I'm like, oh my gosh,
even tomorrow.
Maybe that's why she met him so quickly. is because of the.
Well, remember we talked about we wondered if they would move him up.
Yeah, just to make sure. Just to make sure, because she was saying this is the best day ever. And then I'm thinking, it's only day 3. What else did I explore for her?
Who else is she going to meet?
Yeah. And
she said she's already won. She said she's already won the race,
She's won.
Yeah.
Very I'm so happy for her.
I am too. And watching Pam watch her, I mean, she was just like, oh,
and he hugged Pam too.
Oh, and he hugged Pam too. That was beautiful. That was I mean, they're all wonderful,
Oh yeah. It was.
But since she kept saying so much that she wanted to meet him, and for that to happen was just.
And that's interesting because usually girls, if you follow Freud stuff, girls, daddies, moms, sons, type thing.
But she said that she had lost her dad, her adopted dad, and that they were really, really close, and that she was hoping to meet her real dad to kind of help with that.
Biological dad, yeah. Her biological dad said that that could kind of fill that gap that she has, and it looks like it's going to fill that gap. Right. I mean, there was no.
What that gap is filled.
But you know what I thought though? I thought if he's ill and if they're expecting him to not be here very long, she's gonna have to go through all that pain again.
But she got a hold of him.
Yeah,
I know.
She got a hold of him.
Hopefully she'll meet some more people along the way that can help support her through that if that does happen. Maybe she can find some more people. All right, Miss Mary.
I got red.
You got red.
Okay, Team Red. So Precious met her sister, and it was so funny. I mean, it's her sister and her niece. So sister and her sister was saying that when she had her own daughter, that really made her want to meet Precious. I mean, she didn't. She knew about Precious. She didn't
knew her
know who
they
she
had
was.
that baby picture. Yeah.
Right. But she did, and it wasn't Valentina. What was her name?
Valencia.
Valencia.
I wrote it down. Valencia.
Yeah. So Precious she thought she wasn't even named, that she would was cared so little about that she didn't even have a name. So that was so valuable to her.
Exactly.
That she'd been loved enough to be given a name.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Well, that they lived so close to each other. I mean, it's like they were like blocks, in the same. What it sounded like.
But I guess the year difference, there's no way they probably would have run into each other because of the time. But what I really loved, did you catch when she said, I loved this? She said, I always thought when other people said, oh, you look like so-and-so, or you look like so-and-so, she says, I didn't think I looked like anybody. And there you were all this time looking like me.
Yeah. It was wild how much they looked alike.
And they do look very much alike.
Yes. Yeah.
But it was heartbreaking hearing the sister tell her story to her sister. And again, but I'm so glad that makes a nice little bond for them to come together because it seems like the other one is like a mama. I mean, always caring for someone else. So she'll be there to help support her and her daughter too.
And they did talk about that, right, Mary? I don't know if you wrote that. You probably did because you're so good at all this stuff. But she talked about that we're different. Now we can help each other grow. And I was like, oh,
yes.
Yeah. And she did say she wanted to know if she had a good life,
Yes.
And
I
didn't. Said, I had a really good life because her sister didn't.
Yes.
Sad. Very sad.
Yeah, it was very sad. It was very, very sad. So she said she was very grateful that as much as she wanted to find her, she's kind of glad that maybe they didn't because she ended up being in a safer, more stable household. So
and she didn't have to go through what she went through. And so that's good. Is she older or younger?
I believe that she was older. I wanted to think she was older, but I might be
she was older too.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I think she was the older sister. Okay.
I think so. Mary, was there anything else that you want to say about Team Red?
No.
Okay. Anything else about any of the other teams before we get to results? Because these results were interesting this time. I mean, not the results, but the benefit, I guess, is what was really interesting. So remember, we're going into the results with Team Black at the bottom. Remember this season, like last season, there are no strikes.
That's the second one.
But
if you're at the bottom, right?
Yeah, if you're in the bottom, then you can't get out of the bottom until somebody beats your time in the challenge.
So you beat somebody's time in the challenge.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, exactly. Sorry, I said it kind of backwards, but yeah, that's what I meant. What Mary said. So you beat somebody in the challenge. I knew what it meant. So, they're really hoping that they got a good time. So they're going into the challenge. And of course, hey, Dan, it's always really fun. And I love how they are so supportive of each other as always. They're so good with each other and they were talking about the pickles.
And Dan hates pickles.
Dan hates pickles. He said he hates pickles, which is really funny. You could see it on his face. He was not just saying that to say it. He meant it, that he did not like pickles. And they were commenting about where each other were. They were saying, look at those palm trees behind you with, Team Blue. And so they were really paying attention. And I don't know. I know that part lasts a whole lot longer than what we see. And they really do get to talk and bond, before Dan comes on and spoils the party by
he doesn't spoil it.
By telling the times is what I mean. He comes in and and he gets so caught up into who they meet as well. And he was loving Team Red as he saw the three of them together and their smiles. He could see that and he just, as they're so proudly introducing who they met. They're so excited. And so I love watching them introduce to each other who they met. And they're all so, as they say, who is behind that door? They don't really do that like they used to, but Dan still says, who is behind that door? Who was waiting for you? So
I love it.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. So we know that somebody has to come in last and they give the times, and Team Blue was amazing with that challenge. They chomped down those pickles.
They were number 2. Yeah.
Well, in the challenge though, the challenge time they actually were number 1 in the challenge time. And then Team Red was number 2. And unfortunately, then Team Green comes in 3. And so again, Team Black, they didn't beat anybody. And so they're, back in last place again. I mean, you don't want anybody to be there, but I hate it when somebody's there 2 weeks in a row because it must just feel terrible, because they know that means that the results of the day most likely is going to mean that they're going to be in that bottom place. I guess there could be a situation where one of the other teams got so slow driving the car or so slow someplace else that it made their time longer. But you don't think so?
Well, they didn't even give us Team Black's time. They said
no. They said they weren't going to calculate them at all if they were in the last space.
They could have come in first, but because they didn't win or didn't not lose the challenge.
I gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So their time doesn't matter if you don't get out of the challenge last place. Okay, I got you.
And so clarification on rules.
Okay.
So they're at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
which I still think is a safe place because they're not gone home.
That's right. There's no strike, right?
But where does it harm them going to day 10?
Because well, if they're still there day 9, then they're in last place on day 10.
But they're still there and still competing.
Sounds like they're still going to compete, but I think there's going to be
they have like extra stuff. They're going to
the timing had something.
Yep, they're going to have
be penalized in some way.
Yeah.
And then you get benefits for every time you come in first for day 10.
Yes.
I mean, we don't know what any of that's going to be, but unless they explained it and somehow,
No.
But anyway, so they start giving the times, and Team Red comes in first again, right?
Which was great.
Yeah, and then it was Team Blue. Yeah, and I loved it how Team Blue said at the beginning, I hope you're holding the number 1 spot warm for us. And then even Laura says, no, we're going to slide right in there. So funny how they're joking around. And of course, they came in third, and then we've got Team Black that's in that last place. So anybody want to explain what Team Red's benefit for day 4 is? Because they made them do it right there. Anybody want to explain that?
I just know they had to pick what everybody was going. They had to pick either the brain or the activity.
Go ahead, Mary, you were going to say something?
Shelley did it. It was mental or physical.
Yeah, when I say brain.
Right.
Yeah, but I want to know because they made him do it right there.
They don't. Yeah, they didn't know what it was, but there would be 2 options, and so which. I'm looking at it. It's like, well, this could be kind of a diss on the other teams. Like, you guys look stupid, so I'm going to give you the brain one. You look like weaklings, so I'm going to give you the physical one.
Yeah, we don't know what the actual challenge is going to be, but they had to choose. Go ahead and choose one of the 2 for each of the teams, and they're locked in, and that's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah,
but it made it look like with the editing on the show that they had to do it really fast. And so we would like to know how long they really had, or did they have to do it that fast? That's interesting. And I
made them do it.
And hopefully at some point we can talk to them and say, what made you choose each challenge for each team? And so they chose, I'm trying to look and see what they chose. They chose physical for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Physical for red.
Go ahead.
Physical for green, mental for blue, and mental for black.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good thing for Team Black. I think they're going to really rock it with the mental, because when they had the choice for themselves, they chose mental. Remember, they had to do that star puzzle. And so they chose mental for themselves. And so I'm wondering if that was a good choice. And maybe they were trying to help them get out of the bottom. That's what I thought. Maybe they thought, well, let's help them get out of the bottom so they're not in the bottom another time. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that. Because that's a first. They've never done that before.
Yeah, that was a twist, definitely.
That was a twist, right? And pressure, that's kind of pressure. And I hope that it all works out for everybody.
And it was all exposed.
Yes. They know who chose it for them. So
they have to be looking at strength and weaknesses, possibly.
Yeah. Because they want to win. They want to come in first again. So they're thinking about the advantage for themselves as well. Yeah. And so I'm going to be really interested in finding out. So, so if anybody from Red Team watches this, will you let us know what your strategy was? We would really, really like to know how long you really had and what your strategy may have been going into it to see if you purposely gave, or it was just a random, let's give them this, because we don't have very much time. I doubt it. They're too smart to do randomly. Right. So, yeah, exactly. Mary, were you going to say something?
Well, it's such a weird concept because they had no idea even what the challenge was.
Yeah,
So,
we don't know. Yeah, we have absolutely.
So they had to pick their own even.
Yeah.
And so, they could have been wound up penalizing themselves.
Exactly.
If they had actually
been able
to know what it was that
I was thinking the same thing. I hope they didn't end up penalizing themselves with this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
only time will tell. Only time will tell. We'll see on day 4. Is there anything else from any of the teams that you thought was something that maybe we should have talked about and we didn't? I know I always write down all these quotes and then I'll get off and think, oh, I forgot to say that they said this. I just love their attitudes and they're just.
But they seem to all be a little more competitive, just a little bit compared to other seasons. And it's only like I said, week 3, but you're seeing a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
And my thought too was they have met all of them, such wonderful people.
Yeah.
And we're only on day 3. And Dan made that point too. You guys are only on day 3. There are a lot more relatives for you to meet. And I'm just going, yes. And we get to see it all the way through day 9. No more strikes, no more going, no. Because even when the golden ticket came out, we still saw it, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same because they knew that this was the last relative and there were usually more left after that. And so I love that we get to see all of the relatives. I think it's really wonderful. So anybody got anything else?
Oh, there's my cat.
Oh, there's your cat. Say, okay, cat. Yeah, I'll see. Laura doesn't feel well tonight, so we don't have Penny, but we have your cat. What's your cat's name?
This is Stuart.
Hello, Stuart. You're welcome on GenFriends anytime. That's so funny. I lock mine out because I've got 2 and they will just walk right on my keyboard and then my dogs.
Thought I did.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, pets, children, grandchildren, whatever, husbands, your mom, Shelley, anybody is welcome to pop on in when we're recording. We don't mind. So anyway, with that, what are your thoughts and your questions that you may have? What do you think is going to happen next week with the challenge? We'd love to hear your thoughts and
also, who do you think is next to meet up?
Yeah, who do you think? I mean, who knows at this point? Who knows? I do hope that Jonathan gets to meet somebody and usually
and Pam too.
Yeah,
and Pam too. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And so I hope they all get to meet somebody, but because that's so much fun. Even if you're supporting your other teammate that you really came on the race for, it's always a fun surprise when you get to meet somebody from your family. So with that, we will see you next time for day 4. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we love to hear your comments. Or see your comments. So yeah, tell us what you thought about day 4 or day 3 and your predictions for day 4. All righty. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.